Peace be upon you all and welcome to the channel. In this next video pertaining to the Arabic tutorial series, we will talk about the different types of the Hamza, which is an accent added to provide the guttural enunciation, the sound that we discussed when we took the letters in the first lesson. I'll also write it here in Arabic so that it is a good exercise for a good listening exercise and also writing exercise for the viewer. And this is the tight ta. We will talk about the tight ta in detail later on, do not worry. And with regards to the tashkil, it is ham, zah. You can put it with a sukun, or you can say hamzatu, hamzata, hamzati, but the differences of the diacritic at the end of the word depends on its grammatical syntax, whether it is a nominative, an accusative, or a dative. That would affect the last diacritic for the word. Now, for the hamzas, we covered, so we have three main types. We covered the first one in the first lesson, which differentiates between an alif vowel or alif med or an alif that is a consonant, and that is this shape here. This particular form of hamza is called hamzat qat'. And the word qat' means to cut. So it is the cutting hamza. And we will find out why it is called the cutting hamza. I believe it will be in the lesson when we start taking different sentence structures. We will identify why it is called cutting. But for now, we will simply know that it is cutting. Then we have a second type of hamza, which does not have a shape, though if it is drawn, it either takes the shape of a sukun, a small circle, or takes the shape of a small head for a sad, like so. This is called wasl, hamzat wasl. And wasl means connecting. We will understand why it is called connecting. I believe we can cover both of these earlier in the next lesson, God willing, which will cover the articles. And this will be very vital for us in articles, and we will know why soon. We can also cover why this is called cutting, and this is called connecting. Lastly, we have a hamza that is similar in shape to the approximate sign in math, except it only has one instead of two. So this hamza is drawn like so, atop the alif. All of these are drawn atop the alif, except this one also has other variations which we will discuss for the remainder of this lesson. These two will be covered later in other lessons. So this will be drawn atop the alif like so. This is called hamzat med, and the word med means elongation. Our first encounter with this hamza will be once we take the verb conjugations, because there is a certain conjugation for the pronoun I that sometimes requires this elongation hamza, and we will discuss when it is used and when you should avoid it. But for now, these are the three main types of the hamzas that we have in Arabic: qat', cutting; wasl, connecting; and med or elongation. And remember, for this, most of the time you will not see a hamza atop the alif. The alif will be written like so, without this, or without this on top of it. However, there are certain, I believe it depends on the font style used. Also, if you are reading the Quran, you will see these two as well. Normally or conventionally, it is only the alif with a hamzat wasl or with the connecting hamza, lacks any hamza there. By convention, it is known that this is a wasl hamza or a connecting hamza. Now, to end this lesson, we will take the different variations of the cutting, and then after that, we will end the lecture, and the next lecture, I believe, will be the articles. Yeah, we're almost done with the tutorial. So, for the cutting hamza, we have 3 different locations at which we can find this hamza right here. We can either find it at the beginning of the word. I know this is an Arabic tutorial and it is quite hilarious that I am writing in English. We also have, I'll extend this a bit because I will definitely need the space. We have the middle of the word. And we have the end of the word. Now, the form it assumes at the beginning of the word will be above the alif as such as the name Ahmed. It appears at the beginning of the word, or the name Usama, which is another name for lion. It also appears atop the alif. There are certain instances, just to highlight, at the beginning of the word, it always appears atop the alif consonant, not the alif vowel. However, there are certain instances where it will be on the line, followed by an alif vowel or an alif med. These are, however, rare occurrences, and it normally depends on the calligraphy used, the calligraphical font or style used. Normally, what you will see is this one right here. You will rarely see this in books. Mostly, if you will encounter it often, you will encounter it if you are reading the Quran. And it will always be on the line, followed by an alif med or a vowel. So since this is a vowel, this automatically assumes the fatha diacritic, because as if you recall, any vowel, for it to be a vowel, must have a sukoon on it, and the letter preceding it will assume its respective diacritic. So alif is fatha, waw is dhamma, and ya is kasra. Now for the middle of the word, it will either be on nabira, or as we say it in the common Egyptian dialect, on the plate, because this is similar to a plate, the same as ba and ta and tha and noon when it is written in the word, and so on and so forth. Or it could appear in the middle of the word atop a waw. And the same as the case with alif, when you see a cutting hamza, or hamzat qat' above a waw, this automatically means this waw is a consonant, not a vowel. Vowels lack any accents or any diacritics above them except for the sukoon diacritic. Now, at the end of the word, it either comes on the line at the very end of the word, or it is lying at the edge of the ya, like so. And that is literally what it is called. Hamza ala, which means above. We will cover prepositions in a separate video, do not worry. Ala taraf, ala tarf, asif. Sorry, that asif is sorry in Arabic. Sometimes I slip into Arabic because it is my native tongue. The edge of tarf al-ya. Hamza ala tarf al-ya, or Hamza at the edge of the ya. Now there are rules for identifying, because as I said before, or at least I hope I did, Arabic is a spoken language, not a written language. So for you to be able to identify a Hamza, you will have to hear the guttural sound. The question is, however, how would you identify which form it assumes at the beginning, middle, or end? At the beginning, it will always be this, except for certain instances which you will rarely encounter. Most of the time when you hear a at the beginning of the word, it is alif with a hamza, and if it is a or u, it is a fatha or dhamma respectively, and if it is an e, you will write the hamza at the bottom. Here, it is common practice, and the kasra beneath it. Now, how would I identify which form to use for the middle of the word? Would I use the plated one, or would I use the one resting atop the waw? There is a rule or an order of precedence with regards to, I'll need more space. Just give me a quick moment. There we go. And so we will cover, I will write here middle to remind us for which rule we are covering. And I will draw the Hamza here and the other Hamza here. This needs to be a bit lower so I have room. Now the order of precedence is as follows. Let me write it here. Or you can call it the order of power, depending on how you perceive the matter. This D looks rather hideous. It still looks hideous. There we go. Okay. Now the order of precedence is whenever you hear the Hamza in the middle of the word, you look at the diacritic or the tashkil for the Hamza and the diacritic or the tashkil for the letter before it. Here is the order of precedence, and then we will take an example of what I just mentioned with regards to the rule. Kasra, and let me use the letter ba here for reference. Kasra is greater than, or to avoid confusion between Arabic and English, Kasra is stronger than Dhamma, which is stronger than Fatha, which is stronger than Sukun. Remember the rule of strength here, because it will affect how you write the Hamzas. Let us take an example. Let us say the word tatma'in. So this is how it is written. Tatma'in is a conjugated verb for the pronoun she. Tatma'in means she is comfortable or reassured or soothed, depending on the context. But mostly it is comforted, or she is comforted, or she is soothed by something. Now here is the diacritics. Ta, 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 ta. Talto. Oh, actually, I made a mistake here. It is a sukun, sorry. Talt, talt, ma. Talt, ma, e. So you heard the guttural sound, and it is a kasra because we pronounced it as e, not a, not u. تطمئن. Now, let us isolate this part here. Pretend that we do not know how to write the hamza here. So, we will say sorry, I'll delete, I'll just leave the meme and I'll put the noon. Now let us pretend we do not know how to write the hamza. Talt, ma, but we do know it is a kasra. E, because the word is talt, ma, e. So it is definitely a kasra. What do? We look at the order of precedence or the rule of strength. We look at the diacritic for the hamza. It is a kasra. And we look at the diacritic of the letter before it, which is a fatha. Which diacritic is stronger? The kasra is much stronger than the fatha, which means that the way we will write the hamza will match the kasra, not the fatha. How do you write a hamza on the style of a kasra or on a ya? The plated one. Pretend this is a ya, but without the two dots. So it will be on the plate. Let us take another example with another diacritic. Hopefully it will cement the rule. Let us take the word ha u la. هؤلاء هؤلاء. We will cover the rule for the end of the word after we are done with the middle, do not worry. The word هؤلاء is an article that means in English, if we translate it, those who are. I believe that would be a declarative article if I recall the nomenclature correctly. I could be mistaken, but that is basically what هؤلاء means, those who are, and then continue the sentence. We will take all the articles available in Arabic in next lesson, God willing, or in Arabic, inshallah, which we will cover also. Now, let us pretend we do not know what the hamza is in the middle of the word. So, ha, that is ha fatha, space, I do not know what this is. However, since I said u, it automatically means there's a dhamma there. La, that means lam with a fatha, la. However, it is not la, it is la. That is an elongation. An elongation means med, which also means vowel. And what is the vowel that is elongated with an a? That is alif. And it has a sukun because it is a vowel and it is preceded by a fatha. Then hamza at the end of the word on the line. Now we come to this part right here. Again, same as before. We look at the tashkil for the hamza and the tashkil for the letter preceding it. Then we look at the rule of power or the order of precedence. The hamza, has a dhamma, and the letter before it has a fatha. Which is stronger, dhamma or fatha? Let us look at the rule here. You will see that dhamma is stronger than fatha, which means that the hamza will take the shape of a dhamma letter. what is the letter from which the Dhamma is derived from? Waw. And then you will put the Hamza on top of it as such. So that will be ha-u-la. This is how you identify which form of Hamza is assumed in the middle of the word here. It is a bit annoying to control the slide pen. In the middle of the word. You look at the diacritic of the Hamza and the diacritic of the letter preceding it, then judge based on which is stronger. The Hamza always follows the strongest. So if it is kasra preceded by a fatha, it will assume the shape of the kasra. If it is fatha, actually, there are times where in the middle of the word, I apologize for that. I do not have these videos scripted, so that is why I tend to forget sometimes. I apologize. Sometimes you will see the word in the middle with alif and a fatha, a hamza, above it. This is the fatha hamza, this is the dhamma hamza, and this is the kasra hamza. I will write it here for reference. So always follow the order of precedence. Whichever is stronger, the hamza will take its form. This will hopefully be asserted when we start taking exercises for listening, as well as reading and writing. It will not be a long lesson because I am not an expert in the Arabic language, so I will keep it a short, brief lesson for listening, reading, writing, and speaking as well. And hopefully it is helpful to everyone. Now let us take the rule for writing the hamza at the end of the word. Now, it is either this or this. So as I was saying, for end it will be on the line or at the edge of the ya. Also it will be above the alif, and I apologize for that again, and I forgot to add these in the previous page. Waw as well. So these are all the forms that you will encounter with the hamza at the end. This appears in the middle, however, it only appears in the middle when you are adding the pronouns in their accusative or dative forms. Because they are an extra addition to the word, the hamza maintains its form on the line, but we will cover that later on when we take pronouns. Now the rule here is simple. Instead of comparing the powers between the diacritic of the hamza itself and the diacritic of the letter before it, here you look at the letter before the hamza. Actually, I have a better title for this. The rule is preceding letter diacritic. That is the rule here. The only decisive vote is the diacritic before the hamza. Let us take an example. Also to confirm from the previous page with regards to the hamza in the middle. If both diacritics match, then use the diacritic of the hamza. So if it is a fatha and the letter preceding it is a fatha, use the alif hamza form, and so on and so forth. The sukun is the weakest diacritic, so if the hamza is not, it does not have sukun, which is impossible in the middle of the word, it will always assume the other shapes. Now, with regards to the preceding letter diacritic, let us take a very common word called sama'. Sama' has multiple meanings. It could be sama', because I will cover that later. Sama' could mean sky. It could mean heavens. And it could also mean space, depending on the context. Such as the ayah or the verse in the Quran, وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ. People could interpret it as heavens with towers, or space with towers, or portals, depending on the interpretation of the word buruj. Now, to repeat the word so that we can listen to the diacritics: sa, fatha, sa, ma. Once you hear the elongation, it is automatically a vowel. And the one that has the sound, this is the alif. So normally we do not put the sukun above a vowel. I am simply adding it to remind you of the rule of, or the criterion by which a letter is named a vowel. And then we have the hamza at the bottom on the line here. Now, let us pretend we do not know how to write the hamza. Let us say it ends with a dhamma, sama'u. So let us say sama, and we do not know how to write it. We look at the preceding letter. The letter before it has which diacritic? Has a sukun. If it is a sukun, automatically means the hamza is on the line. So this is for sukun. If the letter before it has a sukun, you write it on the line. Let us take an example for the other forms. Let us say the word yajru. Yajru is the conjugated form for the verb to dare. So yajru means he dares. Yajru. Let us pretend we do not know how to write the hamza here. So we will write the word here. I apologize for the writing. It is really difficult to write with the light pen. Yajru. Yajru. How would I write the hamza here? Look at the letter before it. What is the diacritic? Dhamma. And what is the letter that the dhamma is extracted from? The waw. So it will be hamza above the waw. So this will be dhamma. Let us take alif as an example. Let us take the word naba, which is also a name of a chapter in the Quran. Naba means news or knowledge or information, depending on the context. Na, ba, na, ba, na, ba, na, ba. So let us pretend I do not know how to write this. Na, ba. What would be the letter after it? Let us take a look at the preceding letter's diacritic. It is a fatha. What is the letter from which the fatha is extracted from? The alif. So I will write it above the alif as such. So for this one to manifest, the preceding letter diacritic must be a fatha. Actually, to differentiate it from the kasra, I will write the fatha here. We all know that the dhamma and sukoon are always above the letter, so I can write them here for demonstrative purposes. Lastly, let us take an example for a ya with hamza on its edge. The word G Gia. Gia is a conjugated form for the verb brought. If I say this page was brought to me, I would say this page Gia. Well, there is of course a suffix to indicate masculine or feminine, but we will come to those suffixes and prefixes later on. G, kasra, G. Yi, that elongation automatically means ya as a vowel, not as a consonant. E. Now, again, let us pretend I do not know how to write this. So I will look here. Now, how would I solve this issue here? Because it is preceded by a letter with a sukoon. Apologies for the interruptions, everyone. Now let us take a look at how this will be written for the ya. And also I wanted to apologize. The ya does not have two dots here. Does not have the two dots. It is written as the alif maqsura, or what we labeled it as pseudo alif from the first, I believe it was the first lecture or perhaps the second, I do not recall fully. Now we will take the word qari, which means reader, one who reads. Qa, elongation, so vowel. Qari, ri, qari. Now let us see how we will identify it. Oh, sorry, I should not write this yet. Qaf with a fatha, right here. Then the vowel qa-ri, ri. So there's the guttural sound of the hamza. What do? I look at the letter preceding it. It has a kasra, so it will be written on the edge of the ya, like so. So here is written for the kasra. And that is it for today's lesson with regards to the cutting hamzas. We will cover the connecting hamzas, or the hamzat wasl, next lesson, inshallah, or God willing in English, once we take the articles. And the elongation hamza will be covered in the verb conjugation lecture, because certain verbs, or verb conjugations I should say, for the pronoun I have a certain usage for that hamza, but we will cover that later on. And I apologize for the mistakes I made during the lecture. My mind is a bit preoccupied, unfortunately. I apologize for that, and I had to pause the video and check the sources from which I studied to confirm that I am teaching and relaying the information properly and accurately for everyone. If I made a mistake that I did not catch in time, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you feel that I could add more to that lecture, or any modifications or feedback regarding the lecture, please let me know as well, so that I can improve upon future lectures for the audience. And if you also know any source from which this particular chapter, or any chapter regarding the Arabic tutorial, is taught, Please also leave a link for everyone below so that we can all benefit from the knowledge. I hope this lecture was helpful and beneficial for everyone, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe and take care.